Hi, I'm Charles, and I'm a 20-year-old Hong Konger. I'd like to talk about the first racist incident I've ever experienced. On the 30th of January 2019, I intended to fly Singapore Airlines from Hong Kong to Amsterdam via Singapore. After reaching Singapore Changi Airport, I went to my gate at around 11 p.m. and queued to get on my plane to Amsterdam. The Singaporean staff checked the passengers' passports and boarding passes. All the people in front of me were white. When I gave my Hong Kong passport to one of the staff members, he immediately suspected it's forged. It's worth noting that he didn't stop any of the Caucasians in front of me, clearly showing that he thought they definitely wouldn't forge their passports and was superior to me. It's clear that he was a supporter of white supremacy. The bastard examined my passport with a magnifying glass and realized it's genuine. But he didn't return it to me. He saw my Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport passport stamps and asked me if I'd been to Paris the previous year. I said yes. Then he asked me if I had brought my old passport. I said no. Why the bloody hell would I carry two passports? He asked me why I didn't have checked baggage and whether I knew it's cold in Amsterdam. I told him I hated suitcases. I didn't need one. I was wearing a down jacket and my rucksack was filled with clothes. I'd like to add that I had previously flown Emirates from Hong Kong to Paris via Dubai without checked baggage, and I wasn't stopped or questioned. In addition, I flew Virgin Atlantic from Hong Kong to London in January 2020 without checked baggage, and I wasn't stopped or questioned. So only Singapore Airlines stopped and questioned me when I didn't have checked baggage, showing they treated me unfairly. The imbecile then asked me whether I had an itinerary. I showed it to him. Another member of staff called his boss and told me they refused to let me get on my plane because many refugees were streaming into Europe, and I might be a refugee. Yes, a refugee. Would a refugee speak fluent English with a London accent? Would a refugee buy a return ticket 3 months in advance? Would a refugee carry an expensive camera? These are some questions they should have asked themselves before insulting me. I offered to show him my hotel reservation confirmation emails, but he refused to look at them. He even threatened to call the police if I argued with him. I was perfectly calm and didn't even swear. Then he asked a female member of staff to escort me from my gate. She asked me to spend the night at the airport and told me they would get back to me the following day. About 19 hours later, a manager rode his Segway towards me and asked me if I would like to fly to London instead, because it's my second destination. I agreed. He didn't apologise until I told him I'd never had such an insulting and appalling experience. I could have spent one more day in Amsterdam if it hadn't disrupted my trip. Unfortunately, I wasn't compensated at all. Let me show you a message they sent me. It's clear to me they weren't sorry. 4 hours later, I went to board my plane. An hour later, dinner was served. The food's disgusting. It's the worst food I'd ever tasted on a plane. After dinner, I went to the lavatory, wet my hands and rubbed them with soap. When I pressed the button on the tap, no water came out. This had never happened to me before. So I had to wash my hands in the loo. I sometimes have nightmares about the racist incident. To conclude, Singapore Airlines racist staff humiliated and discriminated against me, and they lacked professionalism. So it's the worst airline I've flown. No passengers deserve to be treated the way I was treated, so no one should fly it. If you still support racist people and companies that employ racist staff, then you're a supporter of racism and should be ashamed of yourself. I sincerely hope no one will be treated unfairly in this modern and progressive world. Thank you for watching. See you later.